Melvin Capital just can't learn, can they? For those of you out of the loop, I'll explain that joke later. Hey, my name is Matt Lurker, and welcome to the channel. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe and we can be friends. We can all use more friends, right? Or at least that's what AMC is probably thinking right now, because they have a ton of people rallying behind them in their fight against the hedge funds. And this is exactly like what happened back in January with GameStop. Except it isn't. There are some major differences between what's going on now and what happened with the meme stock rally back in January. Today, I'll explain exactly what's going on right now, why it's different, and what I expect to happen to these dirty hedge funds. And if you enjoy standing up for the little guy, go ahead and drop a like on the video. It does a ton to support small creators like myself. It costs you nothing. And if you comment down below saying that you like the video, I will personally shout out your name in my next video as a supporter of the channel. To understand where we are now, we first need to understand where we've been. So let's rewind back to January of this year. We were all making resolutions about losing our quarantine weight. Bernie Sanders was wearing the heck out of some mittens, and Reddit users everywhere were fighting for their right to buy overpriced video games at smelly strip malls. At the heart of this movement to rally behind GameStop was the subreddit Wall Street Bets. And if you're not familiar already, this is a community of some of the most loyal and dedicated band of misfits that you'll ever meet. 24/7, these guys are sharing technical analysis combined with speculation about the stock market and the power of the mob mentality. Like it or not, when a community of like-minded people decide to go all in on one stock, they have the power to move markets in whichever way they choose to, and that's what happened earlier this year. It all started when hedge funds like Melvin Capital were shorting GameStop stock by an absurd margin, leaving themselves exposed to a ton of risk. And for a brief overview of what it means to short a stock, here's my explanation in under 30 seconds. To short a stock, you borrow shares of it through your broker and you sell it today at today's price. You pay a fee for doing this, which can increase for as long as you wait to give those shares back to your broker. You're betting that the stock will drop in value, and in the near future, you can buy back the shares that you borrowed and then return them to your broker. If the stock dropped in value, then you paid less to buy the shares back, and the difference between what you sold them for in the first place and the price you bought them at now is your profit. And if that didn't make any sense, just keep rewinding it back until it does. So anyway, the Wall Street Bets community noticed that a bunch of hedge funds all had short positions against GameStop. And I know that it may not even seem possible and probably also not ethical, but 140% of the shares outstanding from GameStop all had short positions against them. And it's another video entirely just to go into depth on that, but shares were being lent and relent just so hedge funds could make a quick buck off of a dying company. That really ticked off the Wall Street Bets community though, because if you or I take up a short position against a stock, it's not really going to do anything to change the price of that stock. If multiple hedge funds all take up massive short positions against it though, they're creating a self-fulfilling prophecy, driving the price down. By shorting the stock, they are signaling that they expect the company's stock price to drop in value. And if enough funds also just join in with this same mindset, then they can force the price down in that direction that they want it to go. You've got to understand the Wall Street Bets community though. Primarily, these are a bunch of guys who are my age, who are young and willing to be kind of dumb with their money. And so they're willing to pile in on something, especially something like GameStop, where they grew up going there. They bought their used games there. They bought new games there. They went there with their friends to hang out. GameStop was a part of their childhood, and they were deeply offended by the hedge funds who were trying to drive their childhood memories into the ground. After noticing what the hedge funds were doing though, they all decided to buy up the stock together, and all this sudden demand pushed the stock price up. The philosophy of this community was to buy, hold, and then buy some more. In this sort of a David and Goliath story, they hoped to achieve a short squeeze, and it worked. If you remember how shorting a stock works, after the hedge fund sells the stock, they have to buy it back again and give it back to their broker. But what if there are no more shares to buy? And what if the stock price has risen instead of dropped? If that happens, we've got a short squeeze on our hands. For every day that the hedge funds don't return their borrowed shares back to their broker, they're going to pay a higher fee for borrowing them in the first place. And so that creates a higher demand for them to be able to get the shares back so they can get them back to the broker. And if every retail investor continues to buy up shares as well, then that higher demand is also going to push the price up. So it's a wicked cycle where the hedge funds keep losing money, because every day that they don't get the shares back to the broker, their losses get even bigger. But the little retail investor is not going to sell, so the hedge fund keeps losing more money. For the hedge fund Melvin Capital, this meant that their losses were 50% in the month of January just on their GameStop shorts. And I, for one, think it's incredible that just an online forum was able to say no to a bunch of hedge funds and then still come out on top. Come back to today, and the same thing is happening with AMC, which is the largest movie theater chain in the United States. And they were also being short squozed back in January, but not to the same extent that GameStop was. Also, I don't think that short squozed is an actual finance term, but if we all start saying it, then we can make it one. Anyway, AMC is the new target, with Melvin Capital again leading the charge against one of the retail investors' favorite companies. These hedge funds really haven't learned though, because as more retail investors have poured into the stock, the hedge funds have just doubled down as they increase the amount of short positions against the stock. And this just makes me want to grab some popcorn, sit back and watch, because this is getting more explosive than a Michael Bay movie. Jokes aside though, it looks like we're about to have another short squeeze, because investors who are betting against AMC have already lost $1.2 billion just in the past week alone. And it just seems like they're digging their graves even deeper, so this will be fun to watch. And even though it seems like just another GameStop situation making some headlines, this is why it's different. Firstly, Wall Street Bets is stronger than ever. With a membership count up to 10.3 million Reddit users now, they're powerful and they know it, and they're even more unified in sticking it to the Goliath that they're up against. Second, while GameStop executives were leaving the company like it was a burning boat, AMC executives are very aware of the unique opportunity that they have right now, with the whole community rallying behind them. They've raised about $1.4 billion in capital just since December of last year, and CEO Adam Aron has a plan to issue an additional 25 million shares, which would raise more money for the company. AMC is not hurting for money by any means. In the first quarter of this year, they had revenues over $148 million. And while this slightly missed the mark of their expected earnings, I don't see them having any struggles to have even higher revenues in quarter 2 of this year. The US has been opening up. Even New York and California have been opening up their movie theaters. And with not much else to do, people are going to get out of the house and go to the movies. Even with movies that are being released directly to streaming services, people are done with staying inside. We don't want to do that anymore. We want to get out of the house. We want to go to the movies. Everyone wants to go see A Quiet Place 2, and AMC is the perfect place to do that. And neither A Quiet Place 2 or AMC is a sponsor of this video, but the movie was great, so you should check it out. This time though is different from the short squeeze of GameStop, because AMC doesn't have to switch up their entire business model just to make a profit. The company's leadership team is committed to fighting for the company, and they've got the community backing that they need to help give them the tools to do that. A short squeeze is imminent, where the price of AMC will spike up and then quickly fall back down. Not to an excessively low number, because AMC is not a hollow shell of a company. They're still going to make plenty of profits this year. People are going out to the movies, and I fully expect them to make money this year. They're even incentivizing investors to buy up more stock, because they're offering free popcorn, discounted tickets, and in some cases, free showings to shareholders. Even though we are guaranteed to see more volatility with super high and low price fluctuations, the company is working with investors to put AMC back on the map. And this shows just by how far the price has come in the past year. They're up 1,000% from this same time last year, and that's largely due to the cooperation between upper-level management and investors like you and me. For the hedge funds, I expect their losses to only increase at this point, and I think it's hilarious that they're continuing to take out more short bets against AMC. And it's kind of funny just watching them battle it out with a retail investor, because I think that AMC is in a great position to raise a lot of capital this year and then reinvest it back into the company. And I expect to revisit their theaters many more times throughout my life. But let me know what you guys think about AMC and if you're pumping money into the company. If you want to get started with investing, check out the links below and subscribe for more content. New videos every Tuesday and Thursday. I know this week it's Wednesday and Friday. I pushed it back because of Memorial Day. But anyway, I love you guys, and I'll catch you next time.